all our esteemed panelists, alumni, and students. I, Khushbu, along with my colleagues Rituparna and Tanya, on behalf of the Industry Interaction Committee, IIM Kashipur, would like to welcome you all to our annual Women's Day Conclave, Advika, a platform where we celebrate women leaders who have defied odds, shattered glass ceilings, and emerged as beacons of inspiration in their respective fields. Our theme for this year's conclave is Beyond Boundaries, Redefining the C-suite, which resonates deeply with our commitment to exploring unconventional perspectives on leadership. We believe that true leadership knows no bounds and transcends the traditional confines of corporate hierarchies. So, in order to gain insights and perspectives of successful industry executives, we have accomplished leaders from significant corporations with their expertise to enlighten us today. I take this opportunity to welcome our panelists, and we look forward to an informative and energetic morning with you all. To begin with, I would like to introduce our first speaker for the day, Ms. EKTA from Bayer, HR Partner Product Supply and R&D. As the talent acquisition and employer branding leader at Bayer India Group, EKTA brings over 16 years of diverse experience to the table. She has held key positions in startups and multinational corporations, spearheading leadership, hiring strategies, and promoting a positive employer brand. Apart from her professional achievements, EKTA is a passionate marathoner, scuba diver, and multilingual traveler, embodying a holistic approach to life. We are honored to have you, ma'am.
Hi, everyone. Very good morning, and thank you for the beautiful introduction of mine. I look forward to having an engaging session with each one of you. And yeah, in the spirit of Women's Day or otherwise, I don't think we need one day to celebrate it as a Women's Day. Every day is our day. But yes, looking forward to this engagement and to share perspectives with all the other industry leaders and with you all. There'll be a lot that we will have as key takeaways from each one of you as reverse mentoring. So that's something that's what I am looking forward to, apart from giving my perspectives or sharing perspectives of my peers or colleagues who are on the call as well. So yeah, over to you guys, and thank you very much once again.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Our second eminent panelist for today is Ms. Meeta Sharma, Executive Director at JP Morgan Chase. With a background in commerce and law, Meeta started her career journey 20 years ago with Airtel. Currently, serving as the Executive Director at JP Morgan, she manages a large technology center in Mumbai, overseeing strategy, planning, and execution of global technology priorities. Throughout her career, Meeta has excelled in various roles, from delivering best-in-class customer service to business banking customers, to training employees of large corporations like Infosys and JP Morgan on professional development skills. We are looking forward to hear from you, ma'am, and we welcome you.
Thank you very much, Khushbu. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure, always a pleasure to speak to these young minds and brilliant minds, in fact. I was actually wondering yesterday, some of you may be the first time voters in this year, isn't it? Can we see a quick show of hands who are voting for the first time this year? All right, interesting. Oh, that's great. Congratulations. All I was trying to say was use it wisely, and this is a great responsibility that you're entering into. So thank you for that. And with that, I really look forward to speaking to all of you in the next an hour that we have. So thank you.
So our next esteemed panelist is Ms. Shilpa Shri M. She's Director ESG and Communications at Colgate-Palmolive. An alumni of IIM Bangalore, Shilpa Shri is a director at Colgate-Palmolive, India, where she oversees corporation communications, CSR, and ESG initiatives. With around 20 years of experience, she has worked across international boundaries, driving sustainable change and brand strategy for renowned multinational corporations like Volvo, Renault, Nissan Alliance, and Alstom. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, darling. Good morning, everybody. Namaste. As I speak to you guys today, I was just telling a while ago to the rest of them, saying that I'm in some remote village in Gujarat, where we're actually opening a center for women for financial and digital literacy. We do a lot of CSR activities in rural areas. It's wonderful to kind of meet all of you virtually. I look forward to, I think Professor Utkarsh actually invited all of us to come over to your campus, which must be really lovely and scenic. I'll pick that on and come by someday. But if you can take away something good today in terms of getting inspired by any of our journeys here, we'll all be very happy. And any questions that you might have, a lot is being done today in terms of women empowerment and coaching and mentoring for women. But I think we still have a long way to go, as a collective force. And happy to be part of this.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Our fourth panelist for the day is Ms. Vindhya Shanmugam. She's Director Engineering at Myntra. With over 20 years of software design and development expertise, Vindhya leads the search, payments, and customer growth engineering teams at Myntra. She has a stellar record in building large-scale systems and has successfully led strategic initiatives with high impact on GMV and bottom line. With that, we are honored to have you, ma'am.
Thank you for the invite. I'm really excited to meet all of you here. It's overwhelming to see all of you present, and I'm here to share my experiences, and if it all helps you folks to inculcate some of them. How many of you all use Myntra app? Raise your hands. I'm like, okay, not bad. So we do a lot of work for Gen Zs. And I'm sure I'm also here. You can send me your feedback on the app. And as pointed out, I handle the entire search ecosystem. So whenever you search something, you don't get results. And, I'm the person that you need to ping me. And your payments, if the transaction is not going through and you're not able to place an order, right? So definitely reach out to me with your inputs. And we do a lot of work for Gen Zs and what they like and what they like to shop. So I'm really looking forward for your feedback from that direction as well. And looking forward for the panel discussion. And thank you so much for the invite.
Thank you so much, ma'am. A very warm welcome to all the panel members.
We also had Shivangi ma'am from Google as the strategic partner manager, but due to last minute professional commitments, she couldn't join. So that's what I wanted to inform.
Right. Before moving on to the exciting discussions ahead, I would like to acquaint the panelists with the flow of the event. Firstly, I will be posing questions, and then the floor will be open for all the panelists to share their thoughts, post which there will be a Q&A session with the students present here. It was Hillary Clinton who stated, "Women are the largest untapped reservoir of talent in the world, and it's time we recognize and empower them to unleash their full potential, driving progress and innovation across all sectors of society." With this quote and a hope for a fruitful discussion, let us move forward with the session. So we will be moving on to our first question, dear panelists. The 2024 Wells Fargo Impact of Women-Owned Business Report indicates that the growth of women business owners outpaced the market. What trends do you think contributed to this stellar growth?
Khushbu, do you want to divert it to one of us, direct the question to one of us, or how do you want us to respond?
Ma'am, it's up to you. You could begin with your perspective.
Okay, then I'll go first. Um, I think the rise in women entrepreneurs or women taking lead has been a lot more in the last decade. Mm, Generally, you're all known to be, um, not financially sound as compared to men. I think erstwhile, whether it's holding uh, the purse strings of the house or deciding where banking goes, where the money gets invested, whether it's going to be land, whether it's going to be jewelry, or it's going to go into investment or education, was something that men took as a decision. But that has moved. And for a lot of us on this call, probably we come from slightly more privileged backgrounds and exposure wise, probably better than the others. But I think if you actually go down deep into whether it's rural India or semi-urban India as well, you'll find a lot of women who have the zest, the enthusiasm to do something of their own, even if it's small. They actually go ahead and start doing their own. The whole papad stories and pickle stories. To today, people leading from the Nikas of the world to other large corporations. I think we've come a long way. Couple of things that for a lot of you here in this class and the batches that you are in college is a lot of you want to become entrepreneurs probably, right? As you step out, um, seek, go, ask. I think there's one nature that we women, most of us in general, have is that um, we do not ask enough. We think that if we ask and we get a no, it's rejection. It's not. The rejection is of the idea or of the thought. So ask more. There's nothing wrong in asking. If you were to pick up a male versus a female, men are much better negotiators. I think that's what we need to learn to be. And I'm sure any of us, whether you're working in corporate or you want to become an entrepreneur, um, you will be able to go faster and higher if you learn the fact that ask for it, and once you get it, make the best out of it. Don't let it go. And also there's no harm or there's no sharam in saying, you know what, my skill set is this particular piece. I'll take help from a male or a female for something else, to run my whole business. So that there's nothing like that. So you should be able to build an ecosystem around you, and whatever comes to your hand, ensure you use it resourcefully and not waste the opportunity. That's from me. Anybody else who wants to go next?
I think that's a valid thing. I think, Shilpa, you covered it all. Asking and speaking up and expressing yourself, I think, is very, very important. Otherwise, the other person will not even know to give you that right opportunity that you want. So I would resonate with that. And I think the ecosystem is changing. Now, the 10 years ago, that was not the case. Right now, there's a lot of awareness and we talk about it and we express ourselves. There are women leaders who are coming and showing up and see them. So definitely, I think the ecosystem as such is changing, which is actually contributing to, more women coming out of their comfort zones and, just doing whatever they want to do, right? So
Yeah.
I think I would definitely, resonate with what you said. It's very, very true.
In fact, Ekta, I don't want to take away your thunder, but Vindhya, at Mintra, I'm sure you must be interacting with a lot of women entrepreneurs, right? So do you see them changing, evolving, or do you see a difference in how a man manages business and a woman manages business? I mean, is there anything that you can give us perspective to the youngsters, maybe, who are looking at becoming entrepreneurs?
It's about being obsessive and passionate about what you want to do. So typically, if you see how our culture has evolved and what we have seen, like from our parents, from our grandparents, in a typical setting of Indian household or even globally, we've defined clearly our roles and responsibilities. Like women, he's primarily it's ingrained in my brain that I'm responsible for some of the things at home, and man is like his responsibilities are defined, right? So his responsibility is bringing home the money, bringing home the status, and the woman's primary response. So we have to slightly unlearn few of these things and also change our thinking, change our perspective that, what we truly want and what we want to do, what we are passionate about, and follow our passion. And obviously, you will have phases in your, especially for a woman, you will have some of the phases where we are raising a family, you need to slightly reprioritize. But the bigger issue is you have to bounce back. You should not give up during that phase. You have to be consistent, and you have to, because that phase everybody goes through. That phase all women go through. And some of the women who have surpassed the stage and, gone through that low phase and coming out and consistently are the ones who are still sustaining, maybe even after 25 years, even after 30 years in the industry, because they are truly passionate about their career, right? So I think that awareness has to set in, not to give up. So because you will have phases when you're having children, there will be low phases, there will be phases where you will not be performing. You have to accept that it's okay, and still move on, and carry on with your passion, as you move forward. And I feel a lot of things have changed when I see like 10 years, 15 years back, and now people are very much aware, and they want to get back to work, and they want to follow their passion. And you say that women entrepreneurs who want to do something meaningful. So I think things are slowly changing, but has it reached the stage where we want to be? Maybe not. Still, we don't see that 50-50 equality, like, maybe in top CXO positions, not so much, right? Still, we have a long way to go. Definitely, I would say we need to talk about it, discuss about it, bring that awareness, and keep this going till we get there, right?
I quite resonate to what Shilpa Shri mentioned, that yes, if you want to do something, ask for it. And there are, I mean, we as women are, I think, from societal perimeters, or from the way we've got engineered and hardwired, that, in a stereotype, that this is what women are supposed to do. I think breaking that stereotype today, there has been a delta of change there. So even from a talent acquisition leader as a perspective from that end, even while I'm hiring women leaders, there are a lot of questions like how Vindhya just mentioned, that there are times when we need to change gears because we are women, and I mean, we are blessed. This is a boon that only we have it, and why don't we look at it as a boon rather than having contemplating that, okay, if I take up this role or this career path, it could be an obstruction. No, I completely feel it's empowerment, because it's you as a woman who's empowered to do it. You are gifted. This is the boon that you have, that while you have to focus on your professional frontiers, there is an aspect of yours which will ask a lot of you, a lot of your commitment, and it's only you who can do it. So do not think of it as a handicap. This has always been my submission to a lot of women leaders who come and we have these questioning, and when we ask about what do you think could be the potential challenges, I mean, nobody wants to preach in an interaction, but then when we exchange feedbacks, we do give this feedback that, while if you think that this is going to be a roadblock, it's not. Look at it as a gift of empowerment. And yes, I mean, as women, I think the most effective way to do things is just go and do it, right? Do it, and then you know what's in it for you and what's not, rather than being on the fence and thinking that, okay, what side the needle will move. The needle will move either ways. If you do it or someone else does it. So why don't you take charge, get into the driver's seat, and go for it? I mean, that's what I think, the way today how the transformation of women in leadership roles is seeming to be like.
Yeah, I completely agree with every point that's mentioned here. I think the whole skill sets are also changing with the kind of discussions that are happening. And we have seen this change, witnessed the change in our homes as well, right? From our grandmother to mother to our generation, and now to your generation. Things have changed and evolved to a greater degree. Women make, if not 50%, we make 49.1% of the overall world population. And the ecosystem around us has also recognized that there's such a large population that exists, we might as well contribute to the world economy. And therefore, you see the interest rates are less. The home loans are given to us at a much discounted rates. There are these kind of conversations that are happening at the college level itself. And then there are groups which are created in the organizations to empower and upskill women continuously. So there's a huge effort, and we are seeing the change in the system already with all these efforts that are being made.
Thank you so much, our esteemed panelists. That was really insightful. Our next question to you would be, what factors do you think contribute to the gap between women holding 42% of board seats and only 10 being FTSE 100 CEOs? Context being, given the progress in board representation for women at big UK firms, it's evident that strides have been made. However, the underrepresentation of women in FTSE 100 CEO roles raises critical questions.
Okay, I can start with this. This is just my perspective. We do see this disparity, right? What we are trying to now focus is that this disparity in the numbers at board representations or in the C-suite level where women are. But if you look at it, I mean, these are just my views, that when you look at it retrospectively, any transformation is a journey, right? Industrial revolution to Renaissance, it just didn't happen overnight, right? It was a process. So, as I think women being in the driver's seat or this entire DEI agenda, it has now taken its shape, form, and pace. Honestly, in the last in the last decade, where we see that things have started to accelerate. In the past, right from disparities with respect to the commitment a woman can offer to gender disparities, women were taking care of this battle or were vanguarding this, but at a micro level where a lot of them did not find perhaps the right voice or the right choice to do at that point in time. But today, with the awareness, with the support, with the ecosystems, with the government and the regulations changing, not just in a country, but globally, I think women are trying, or rather, are establishing that foothold. So, if we talk of this kind of disparity, yes, it does exist. But as we have started to see transformation, I think in the next decade or so, this gap will be bridged and bridged pretty well, because today, everybody knows we are not here to challenge men, or we are not here to challenge them with respect to that. Hey, we need we know in anatomy, in physiology, yes, you are designed to be superior. What we are asking is cerebral equality, right? Or what we have been voicing for. So that, I think, has gone down well, and it's now, I mean, it's taken the shape, it started to take its shape and form, and the reception of this message has now got stronger. Earlier, it could be looked at, women are revolting, or they are agitating, or they want, I mean, the context was not very well defined. But with changing times, with evolution, with knowledge transformation, knowledge management, and awareness, thanks to the way we have enhanced ourselves on all frontiers, right? Socially, economically, digitally. With this awareness coming in, I think the gears are changing and the needle will eventually. That's from me.
Yeah, one comment I can add to that is, as we all know, women do have distractions, right? And it's important to pursue their passion even after, initially, if you see women do really well in schools and colleges, they give it a tough fight. But once, they're settling in, once having children, and, as they start progressing somewhere down the line, the interest also, they should not tend to lose. Because if you tend to lose, then, because parallelly you should start developing the skill set that is required for getting into the C-suite as well. or any other senior leadership positions, right? So I think that is also very important as you travel in your journey, not to lose your passion and only focus on improvising your skill set. I think that skill set development to get into the next levels is very, very crucial beyond, a certain point. So that is also one, we have to be adamant, we have to be obsessive about, what we want to achieve, what is your end goal, right? Otherwise, it doesn't magically happen.
And now with the evolving ecosystem, like as you rightly mentioned, Vindhya, back in the day when we talk about our parents, they, even if they wanted to further develop or get going with and not taking a pause with especially our mothers with respect to their careers, the ecosystem was not that enabling. Today, luckily, things have changed so much so that yes, it's more enabling. The ecosystem is more developed, not just externally, but even today, the organizations are taking that lead, right? There are organizations who have, a system which does enable a woman when there are things changing on the personal frontiers. They are more they are more receptive to it, and there is a framework design which is trying to ensure that women do not lose sight during this change of or during this transition, or so to say, that in technically their second innings, even if it would not be so, but it's a whole new person coming back if it has to be from their maternity, or a pause or a break after raising a family. It's different. So I think organizations are taking in that effort, they're putting in, or they're coming, they are giving it their best with respect to policies, systems, and benefits, where it is trying to ensure that women don't lose sight and stay true to the course of their career.
Yeah, I think that is where organizations to help with return to work programs and, give them that opportunity to, restart, their career. Because that's a very temporary phase and it will pass by.
It will pass.
And you will forget the skill set and you're not able to come up and you are stuck there. So you need to know how carefully to pass that state. And once you pass that stage, I think things just work out for you, right?
I'll just go last on this because the topic is on board. What I'd want to say is women need to continuously keep, what's it that you need from board members, right? You're looking at strategic insights. You're looking at them being just not functional leads or experts in one topic, but be slightly more holistic, go more strategic. So if more and more women want to be on the board, of course, companies are doing stuff. They're trying to see if they can involve. But we ourselves also should start being less functional and more strategic. We should learn to upskill ourselves in more than one topics. Learn to, listen, resonate, network. Because, if you need to be on boards, the the thing that they want to look at you for is also one is, of course, you mentor the company, you can give them some vision, but also the fact that what is it that you get as a person on board? And networking is one thing I think that will really help women who want to move into boards, who want to, kind of take lead roles in organizations and set visions for organizations that are beyond their own.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think networking is one of the key things which I feel, men naturally network. It comes very intuitively for them. But for women, it's a task, right? And also when I mean networking, it's also important to set up the right allies within your workplace. You need to know who are the people that is going to help you with your career aspirations, who can take you to the next level. You need to be able to spot those allies, right? And work with them, partner with them, because they are the ones who's going to support you in your career aspirations. So spotting those allies, working with them closely and networking with them, is what will actually take you to your next levels and, your career aspirations. Because without networking, you do all the hard work, you still might not, get the opportunity. Right. So these are some of the things beyond your work, beyond your hard work. You need to have a razor sharp focus. Yes, I need to be aware of all of these things as well if I'm aspirational, if I want to go to, next levels. Yeah, right point, Shilpa. Yeah.
So moving forward with our third question, in a shifting corporate landscape, recognizing women's leadership qualities can redefine C-suite dynamics, fostering innovation and inclusivity. What are the skills and qualities that women leaders bring to the C-suite, and how can they reshape and redefine traditional leadership roles based on your experience?
Sure, I can take a stab at that. See,
Seven.
see, the term itself, the term C-suite itself gets its name from the titles of the top senior executives in the organization, which tend to start with the letter C, which stands for chief, right? I haven't reached there yet, but I admire every single woman who is there because all of them are Advikas. Do you all know what is the meaning of the word Advika? So the women in C-suite, I find them all Advikas, and the meaning of the word Advika is that there is absolutely no copy or a duplicate of each of them. They are one of their own kinds, and everyone has traveled a unique journey. So before even I start talking about the women in the organizations or corporates, I want to ask you a very quick question. How many of you believe that there's a C-suite leader in your home? Nobody? Okay, let me tell you. Yes, all right, let's, Dheeraj. Dheeraj, you raised your hand very quickly. Who's the C-suite leader in your home?
My mother, I suppose.
Oh, you suppose, huh? Okay, let's see.
Like, if you mean from a corporate perspective, she's not. But if you mean from a leader perspective, she's the one who holds the house
By the
together.
term, yeah, exactly. So let's go by the term C-suite, right? I'm talking about the letter C, which stands for chief. And we're talking about who's the chief at our home. Oh, Pavitra?
Yes, ma'am. So I believe in my home, it's my father. He usually takes all the decisions.
Okay, it's your father, all right. Sham Sundar has also raised his hand.
It's my mother, because she takes care of everything. And we study about finance, operations, HR in our MBA. But she's the one who takes care of literally everything and manages everything right from the workbook. So she's the one.
That's right. I can't agree more.
Meeta, did you notice the trend? Right?
Yes.
Three
Yes.
boys spoke, not one girl spoke when you asked the question.
That's absolutely all right. That's absolutely all
And I'm
right.
just saying,
Yeah.
when we get opportunities, a lot of us, by the time we think, the world would have moved.
Yeah, that's absolutely all right. But yes, I totally agree. And in fact, I can't agree more than all of you, whoever have raised your hand and have mentioned. In my house as well, my mother has been the C-suite lady, right? So she's been the chief of all the departments. Our mothers essentially, and yes, some of the fathers also are leading the front, but I would say the number would be less. The decisions are all taken either at the dining table or in the kitchen with our mothers. They hold a lot of authority. They possess enormous qualities. And I think you are what you are, and I am what I am. It's because of our mothers. Yeah, we have a very strong influence of our mothers in our lives. They are the chief of their departments. Yeah. Switching gears, I can talk about a few qualities of the women leaders in corporate whom I've had an opportunity to interact with, who are sitting in C-suite today. One of the many skills they possess, since your question is all about skills that they possess and the quality that they bring in, the topmost quality I feel these women have is the influencing skills. I feel the women leaders in C-suite, they possess very strong influencing skills because the world was not as open as it is today then. The support mechanisms for the women then were not as easily available and accepted as they are today. And when I'm talking about the then and now, I'm going by the average age of C-suite executives that exist today, and that is between 55 and 57. Okay, I'm talking about I'm talking about the large organizations and the women in C-suite there. Yeah, there are younger ones there, of course, and a few of them I know, and some of them are my friends as well. But I'm talking as an average at a world level. So if 55, 57 is the average age, and only 4% of them are women, and in technology, if you go further, that the number goes further down. Yeah, so imagine the amount of influencing they would have had to do in their home, in their offices, because the support mechanism wasn't enough. The office environment wasn't as talking about as diversity as we are, or inclusion as we are doing today. So the influencing skill of these women is tremendous. And if at all, whenever you enter into corporates, you get an opportunity to get in touch or have a quick word with these women in C-suite, you will know with your first interaction how they are talking to you. They have the skill to change your mind, and I wouldn't say the direction in which you are thinking, but yes, they are very, very influential women. The second skill that they bring to the table is that they never hesitated, or they were never afraid of taking risks in their lives. They changed roles. They took every opportunity that came in their way. They were the risk takers, right? They kept pushing themselves out of comfort zone. Now, this is one term you need to get comfortable with, is that get out of your comfort zone. And I'm sure between now and the time that you arrive into the corporates, you will know the difference of it very well. Yeah, but I just do not want you to add this to your vocabulary, but also to imbibe in your lives. Get out of your comfort zone. These women have done that in their era. But they consistently learned and adapted themselves to the changing scenarios in their lives, because the world was changing around them at a very high speed and a pace. They learned not only the management skills, but they also learned the technological skills. And I'm talking more about technology because I'm managing a huge tech center, and therefore I get opportunity to speak to the women in technology, the women in C-suite in technology, and so on, right? So the C-suite women leaders who are within my organization, they have seen the world change from the record players to the cassette players, to the floppy disk, to the disc, to the CDs, and now they are online music, right? So they have seen the whole transition, and they've been a part of it. And that's what that matters. The third skill I want to talk about is the hard work. They have been the hard worker women. There's absolutely no substitute to the hard work, right, that they have done. A little luck, there's a little amount of luck which goes along the way, but we can say that hard work is first in and last out, right? So that's my submission to the first part of your question. I like the second part of your question, and you're okay if I continue on this one, or you want me to take a pause for any questions? Rituparna.
You may continue, ma'am.
Great, thank you. So I like the second part of your question as well. And that is how can they redefine the traditional roles, if at all? I'll say it's ongoing, and it's a continuous process. The workplaces are evolving, like everyone have been talking about it. The nature of work itself is changing. We are now moving to artificial intelligence and ChatGPTs, and we are leveraging every bit of technology that's being made available to us. And if we don't do that, then of course we become extinct. We become dinosaurs, right? So change is the only constant, and that has to happen continuously. Traditionally, I have seen, and I have witnessed it because I've been in corporates for a good 20 years now. Power, authority, autocracy were the tools used by the leaders or by the managers to get the task done in the past, right? Now the world has changed, and the modern leaders are a highly collaborative. One of my skills also is I'm a high collaborating woman. I'm a collaborator. We take these assessments. I've taken a TKI or a Thomas Kilmann assessment very recently, and that indicates that I'm a collaborator. So I like to work with people, and that's what I think the modern leaders in the organizations are doing it. They are very people-oriented. There's more focus on achieving results for impact that make into the organizations, versus just getting a job done or getting a check marks, a tick marked against, one of the to-do lists what impact are you making with anything that you're doing? That's the focus of our leaders today. And therefore, we tap on the young talent. We tap on all of you as you enter the organization, because you bring in a fresh breath of air into the organization, and it's the leader's responsibility to listen to you. And somebody mentioned at the start, I think Ekta, it was you. You mentioned the term reverse mentoring. We believe in it, not just by the term, but we actually believe in listening to all of you. We want to know, how does this generation want to be led forward? There's absolutely no fun in sitting in the C-suite chair or a leadership chair and say that and run with that title unless you actually get your hands dirty, be with your people, listen to what they want to say and how they want to do things in future, right? We encourage you to challenge the status quo, challenge the traditional way of doing things the way they have been happening in the organizations. Come in and question about why things have been happening the way they have been happening, right? Especially for the firms which are more than 200 years old. Yeah, the one that I represent here. So we encourage you, we welcome you to come and talk to us, do the reverse mentoring, teach our leaders to tell them, how do you want to be led? What is it that you appreciate the most in terms of your working style? Right, I think, and that is changing at a great deal. I also believe, and I think I'm giving out too many pointers because I've been thinking and listening, and there's only a bifurcation that I've been listening, that, okay, this is the women and this is the men. But I believe, and this is something I'm experiencing hands-on, women are as upfront now. I see these young girls who come into the corporates. They are as upfront, they are as open, as I would expect any man or a senior man leader to be in the organization. And they are coming up to me because given my role that I am into, they're coming up to me and asking me questions about how can they contribute over and above and beyond what their job responsibilities are. And I thoroughly get super excited with it. Yeah. I really love that excitement, that energy in you, that zest of doing something which is more than your job description. Yeah. So leadership, I will say, is not title dependent. Yeah. It's about what you want to do. Are you okay to get out of your job description and do something else? So come join the gang. Yeah. I also encourage you to innovate, think differently, and fail fast. Right? And it's not just me, it's my entire leadership team which encourages you to do that. And I think from my colleagues and from my friends who've joined other organizations, they come and tell me, this is what we are encouraging at the organizations. And that stands true for everyone, be it a man or a woman. Innovate, think differently, and fail fast. We are encouraging you to fail. Your colleges are encouraging you to fail fast. So there's absolutely no harm. We know where the controls are. We know what the risks are. So don't worry about if you fail, what will happen? What is the risk involved? Your leaders are there. They have your back. Okay, so they have your back. You have an entire support mechanism in order to try your hands, get dirty. If you fail, there's absolutely no problem. You can always come back and start afresh and not do the things that you have failed at. Right? So there's always a learning in failing fast. So you do not repeat what you have failed at. Come back and do that. And I think one thing that all of us are doing now is we are encouraging and we are thriving on trusting each other. Be it a fresh perspective that you bring in, or you bring in some theoretical knowledge, but there's a lot of trust that we are working upon. And this is a huge difference that I see from the traditional leadership to the way the leadership is evolving now. And that applies for everyone, irrespective of the gender, right? I'm open to any questions if you have.
I think I just want to go next, saying you
Yeah.
summarized excellently. I don't have anything to add from my end on this topic, Meeta. I think you just said everything that probably me or somebody else had. If the others want to go next, they could go. I mean, I don't have anything more to add on this question.
Yeah, likewise, Meeta, very well contextualized. And a couple of pointers that I so closely resonate is that yes, go ahead, take the risk, and challenge the bias, right? Challenge the status quo. So, just an anecdote that the organization that I lead, the talent acquisition, is basically into leaders for crop sciences. And crop science is a space which has been so male dominated. But today, with the way the globally the trends are changing, and the way we are encouraging more women to come on into this field, into this perimeter, and be at the forefront, we today have women who are on the field working with the farmers for quality controlling, for testing, and so much so very recently we have a first woman drone flyer. Right, that's very rare in the crop science space. So, as an organization, these are the steps that we are taking and encouraging to promote. And our submission as the leaders of the organization has been that please do not shy away. Take that risk, take that plunge. We believe in you. We want to invest in you. And like you, as you rightly said, learn fast, fail faster, and get the learnings at the best of. So I think very well said, very well summarized, and I think this is a great learning for the Gen Z today here, and I think some of you are Gen Alpha as well. So yes, go ahead, take that plunge. The women here on the call, and so much so even the male folks. It's no shying away to fail. There is nothing like a failure. It's always a learning. So yeah, thanks for that.
So moving forward with the next question. Gender stereotype in workplace often hinders women's advancement, limiting opportunities, perpetuating biases, and undermining diversity, equality, and inclusion efforts. How can corporate cultures be reshaped to eliminate gender stereotypes and create an environment that fosters equal opportunities for women in these executive positions?
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful segue. Your question is a beautiful segue from the previous one. How can we reshape the organization and break the women's stereotypes? And let me tell you, talking of diversity, talking of women as diversity is a topic, it's passé. Okay, we are not talking about that anymore. I think we have evolved from the place where we wanted to, to influence women to take a decision to come and work in the corporates, to hire them at the role, push them towards it. All that has gone. I think the women have so much knowledge today. They are well empowered. They know what they're doing and they know what is right for them. So I think that stereotype has broken already. The focus now is on inclusion, right? And the inclusion is not only on the gender diversity, but the focus, like somebody mentioned, give me just 1 second, there's somebody at the door. So the focus is on the entire curve, on inclusion. Apart from gender diversity, we are encouraging accessibility. And if you're familiar with the term, I'm sure you are, the pride members into the system. We have veterans, the retired armed services, people from armed services, and they want to join corporates. So the focus was largely on that. Speaking of stereotypes and the way we broke these stereotypes already, and I would emphasize on the fact that we have moved the needle, is because we created business resource groups within the organization. When I say resource groups, these terms may sound a little fancy to you, and they may be organization specific. What they mean essentially is that we have emphasized on creating communities for people who belong to a certain community. Now, what do I mean by that? Is, let's say there's a resource group for women where they can come together. They talk about everything. They talk about their upskilling. They talk about mentoring, or seeking a mentor, if at all, within the organization, if they need any. They talk about their personal growth, networking, like Shilpa was talking about. So these resource groups are fully equipped for anything and everything that any woman needs or desires. All you need to do, and like all the women on the panel mentioned earlier, all you need to do is ask for it. And the organizations are ready to provide to you. Right? And that stands true at every level, and that stands true for men as well. If you won't ask for it, you won't get it. right? And that's the rule of the society. We've seen it, and you must have heard this example so many times. If the child is hungry, the child has to cry for the mother to feed him or her. Yeah, and if you are hungry to get something, be it an opportunity, be it a next level, a next position, you will have to ask for it and demonstrate it in your current position, right? For the leaders to believe that yes, you are now ready to get there. Yeah, so I'll say it's a two-way process. You ask for it and you get it. You show it and you get it. You demonstrate it and you get it. Let me say it that way. Yeah, so yeah, that's my take on that, on the stereotypes. And bear with me, I have to go open the door for somebody.
Yeah, I think I can just take from that. So I also, agree to that. So the stereotypes is already gone. Definitely there is a lot of opportunities for both men and women. And always it's about business. If you see Mintra, we have a women CEO who's running the show, right? Nandita is our CEO, and also we have very senior most leaders at the senior positions. We have Sharon, who is the chief business officer. So it's always about the skill set. It's always about the business value that you bring to the table. So it doesn't matter it's a man or a woman. You cannot force fit someone, and it will be about driving business value, right? So that thinking has to be, in mind. So there will not be any concession. Okay, you are a woman, and you're going to get some concession because you have some work, 50% your responsibilities at home. Nobody's going to do that. It's always about the value you bring to the table, and it should not matter being a woman or a man, right?
Yeah, I'll just quickly add one more point here. The larger organizations, and I'm sure Myntra, Google, and Colgate, Palmolive, and EKTA yours as well. You may be doing it as well, and some of them I know, some of them I'm assuming. We have a program called re-entry program. A re-entry program essentially means how Vindhya mentioned earlier, that women, they may have to take a break in a career depending upon what age and stage at which they are in their lives, because the life events and the career events, they move simultaneously, is what has been my observation, right? There are times when you've just gotten married. Now it is time for you to start your family, and that is the same time when your career is taking is getting to the next pedestal. So there are times where women have to decide, and you take your own call. You are wise enough to take the call, what is your priority, and go by it. But do not worry. If you need to take a break in your career, go give it your fullest, because that's a life event, and do not want to compromise on it, right? You give it your full. Take a break if you need to, and if you feel that there's not enough support mechanism to allow you to, just take a maternity for 6 months, maternity break, and come back. If you need to take a 2-month break or a 3-month break or whatever number of years of break it is, we are okay to get you back into the system, into the corporates, right? Upskill yourself, get some whatever technology is trending or anything that is trending in the market, and you feel that you need to upskill yourself, upgrade yourself, do that. How much does it take? It just takes some time, and we are okay also to sponsor, right? Once you're a part of the system, of course, and you have to go through that interview process all over again. But yes, what I'm trying to highlight here is that the opportunities are open. You just have to seek and ask for it. That's that.
Completely agree. I think second gig or second innings is something that we all as an organization are trying to weave in very beautifully and give a platform to break the stereotype that after you change gears during your life events, it gets difficult. No, you've got to learn, unlearn, relearn, do what it takes, and organizations today are welcoming you, with the same strength, zest, and zeal to soak you in back into the ecosystem of the corporate. It is just that matter of that chance that you need to take. And as rightly said by Meeta, that yes, if you got to take that break, go give it all, whatever you do, even if it's a break, invest your 100% in it. But when you come back, it's again 100% commitment there. And, that's how you can come back to the pedestrian.
Yeah. And one more point to add to that is, don't overstress yourself. We always talk about setting expectations at workplace. Like you work with your leaders and you set the expectation, especially during this phase when you're available, when you're not. We, to an extent, do that well. But setting the expectations at home also becomes equally important. Like what you can do, and so don't overwork in both the places and stress so much that you get frustrated and you give up, right? So taking help and setting expectations with your family members also is equally important, and conveying them how much career means to you within your family ecosystem is also equally important as we do it in our workplace. Right?
Yeah, I like that. I like that point. Don't forget to have fun. That's the most important thing. Don't forget to have fun. I think Vindhya is a trekker. You trek?
I
Vindhya. Okay.
I do everything which is into sports. I think I'm just, by the way, into a profession which is corporate. So I ensure that I always have the fun. I make sure I make that time to, recreate myself. The recreation is very important. Replenish myself, or else I wouldn't be able to balance the wheel.
You bet, yeah. And I think having why are we doing what we are doing? It's to enjoy ourselves, right? Our lives. Don't forget to have fun. So pick a sport. If you do not know how to have fun or how to enjoy, but I think we can take a few lessons from all of you here. You all know it really well. Pick a sport, right? That gives you learn so much from playing a sport, and that you can apply in your lives. And but don't think about, okay, what I can learn and apply in my corporate life or in my work life at all. Just do whatever you're doing for the sake of doing that particular thing. For example, I picked up learning and I enjoy playing tennis. I just love playing tennis. The amount of power, the energy, it's those 2 days in a week which I really look forward to. Or if you can say, it wouldn't be an exaggeration if I say that I work through the week for my weekend so that I can enjoy those, my tennis games. It's so much fun. You get to see a different perspective. You learn to lose. You learn to enjoy the game itself. You learn to enjoy the process versus arriving at a conclusion. And that's, I think, is more important.
I can't agree more, because like I said, for me, sports is everything. I mean, that's been the way I have been as through all my formative years. I was always into sports, and I don't think my family ever thought I would do anything which is corporate. I mean, everybody's taken to shock and surprise at what is she doing here. But as you rightly said, all my learnings have been experiential learnings. Whatever I studied in all the possible B schools and whatever courses that you do, but what you gain as experiential knowledge, especially from any sport that you pursue, right from your team spirit, team management, to your leadership development, most important, resilience. I think there is no other gift better than sport, any sport that you would want to pursue, and your self development, it all comes through. So, yeah, that's my go to.
We totally agree with you all, ma'am. Thank you so much for the beautiful insights and suggestions. I'm pretty sure that those are going to, help us in the long run. We would like to inform everyone that Shilpashri ma'am is traveling right now. So she's facing a lot of network issues and she might not be able to join us for the further discussion.
Moving towards for the next question, with an emphasis on emotional intelligence and empathy in leadership, How can women leaders excel in these areas to create inclusive work environment that foster collaboration and productivity? Drawing from your personal experience and insight, how can we create in diversity and inclusion in our workplace?
Sure, I can take that. So, as a female leader myself, I do understand the extreme importance of emotional intelligence and empathy, and which definitely is one of the foundations to create a very inclusive work environment that fosters productivity. So, some of the insights which I can, share with all of you here from my personal journey is leading with authenticity, because that is something which I really vanguard, and it's very very close to my heart, because as I just mentioned in all the conversations that we are having, what do we talk about when we say authentic? What is it that we mean by authentic? Women leaders can definitely excel in emotional intelligence by leading with absolute authenticity and vulnerability. When you come with your true self and you really know that you're self aware that this is the person I am, this is the authenticity I carry, and this is my vulnerability, I think that is something that gives you more room to develop as a leader. Talking about myself, I know that sports is something that I can relate. I can relate to adventure. I can relate to extremity. This is my authentic way of being. I am someone, who thinks a little differently. I would think, oh, I mean, maybe as people say, a little ahead in time, or I can be conservative at times. So these are some of the blind spots where you need to know authentically about yourself. Once you have that self awareness, I think you can get that to a better display when you come into a leadership role. That's been my learning personally through my personal journey. Vulnerability is, I think, one of the best gifts, or it's one of the best gifts of imperfection that we have. There's a very beautiful book by Dr. Brené Brown that talks about the gifts of imperfection, vulnerability being the key. If anybody gets a chance, do read about it. And it talks so well that when we talk about vulnerability, it is not about uh, being at a weaker position or a weak spot. No, it is a part of your authentic journey. If you embrace that vulnerability, and that's what I have done right from my early days. I mean, I had my learnings too when I was, I think, perhaps uh, at the frontiers where you all were. I thought, I thought of it as a taboo. I know, oh, I can't go and express it. This is what is making me vulnerable. Eventually, as in my entire career, as I progressed with the right mentors, right coaches coming along my way, I realized that vulnerability is not a taboo. In fact, it's a boon. If you look at capitalizing it from the perspective of it being a boon, things can shape very beautifully for you. So that's what has been my learning through my personal journey. By being genuine and open about my own experiences, my own emotions with my team, with the teams that I work with my peers, with my colleagues, I definitely that gives you that space for building the trust, right? And that's where things start changing. You start creating a safer space, and that's how you start fostering connections. And like we just discussed, how important it is to have the right connections, more meaningful connections, having that depth of knowledge, that enrichment, because that's what takes you further ahead. In there will be one point where your skill set, your technical abilities, etc., they are going to be assessed. But when we talk about having these connectivities, fostering meaningful relationships, that's another wheel that as women leader we also need to balance. So I think when you lead with authenticity, that definitely is one of the key things to talk about. uh, as talking about emotional intelligence and empathy, I think active listening and empathy, that's what as women leaders we should demonstrate. When I talk about so there's one thing is listening and one thing is hearing, right? When we talk about active listening of our team members, peers, colleagues, whoever we are working with, it is basically that we need to show that true intent, that right intent, that we are understanding their perspectives. Show that genuineness, show that concern for their well being. It's not a tick in the box activity that we need to do. It has to be very intent driven, and that's where you start seeing the perspectives changing. It's definitely a game changer. when you start moving from hearing to active listening with empathy. By practicing empathy, we create a supportive environment. Yeah. Today, as women leaders, I think one of us just mentioned, right? We have started leaning on each other more. We started trusting each other. So that is also a journey. It just does not happen overnight. And one of the walkways for this journey is definitely being an active listener, displaying that empathy, where your team members, your peers, your colleagues feel that they are valued, they are engaged, and there is a high level of productivity there. Building trust. What is trust, right? Trust is nothing but psychological safety. And promoting that psychological safety as women leaders to create an inclusive environment, I think today is one of the keys, or one of the major tenets we as women leaders are today focusing on. We spoke of so many facets about second innings, about giving that chance or taking that plunge. For all of that, the prima facie or the fundamental stays building that trust, having that right trust, and having that psychological safety net. So by fostering an environment of trust and openness, it surely that enables a lot of collaboration and innovation within the teams. Again, valuing diversity and inclusion. As women leaders, I think today we are the flag bearers that foster diversity and inclusion by wherever we are working, by actively promoting and valuing different perspectives, experiences, backgrounds within the teams. So by embracing this diversity, I think this definitely enables and helps in creating a very rich and a dynamic work environment. And I think to sum it up, very important to lead by example, right? We might talk so much, but if you do not walk the talk, I think then rest of it is just a good eyewash, so to say. So good to have that right intent, having your heart in the right place, very, very important. And whatever we are doing, do it, give it your 100%. It starts from there as women leaders, to create that emotional intelligence, to have that lens of an empath. And whatever you are doing, please lead it by example, right? When we as women leaders lead by example, we are then championing the process, or else it is just an organizational policy that we're trying to adhere to and move up the ranks, so to say. So I think these are my perspectives and this has been my personal journey. These are some of the key 4 5 things I have focused very early on, early on in my days. And yes, the time that we come from, I think the three of us and where you guys are, it's a sea change, right? It's a very fortunate place also to be where you guys are, because the perspectives, the ecosystem, and everything is more amplified, well nurtured, boosted, or nourishing. There's a lot of nourishment that you guys have with respect to uh, these agendas. So yes, I think a lot of work has been done by us. So please live up to it or make it better in the days to come. That's it. Really, there's someone at the door, so I just need to check that. Weekend commitments.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah, I agree with every word that Ekta said. And I believe you guys, are you okay if I switch between Hindi and English? Do we all understand Hindi a little bit? Just the feeling.
Sure.
Yeah. No, I was just saying that we feel that your generation is the most privileged ones. You're the most privileged generation. You're getting the best of the world. When we entered, and I'm being honest here, when I entered the workforce, I don't know about Vindhya yourself. Honestly, I had never heard of the term emotional intelligence before entering the corporate world. मुझे बिल्कुल पता नहीं था ये emotional intelligence होता क्या है. And each time my manager, my manager would sit me down and like, Neeta, you know what? I think you'll have to work on your interpersonal skills. I said, all right, let's define what does interpersonal skills mean. But so from there till now, and I think now you guys are talking about emotional intelligence in your college itself, which is great, right? So practices, and I think there's one thing I learned about emotional intelligence. I don't know if I've championed it already. I don't think I have at all. One good thing, and that's why it has stayed with me, is that you can learn it at any age. So I'm okay. I'm okay if I haven't championed it yet. There's still a way to go, right? So the difference between IQ and EQ, and that's the only difference that has stayed with me, is that IQ gets formed till the age of 7, and EQ you can develop as you go, right? So yeah, I think over the years, having spoken and shifting gears from one role to another, I may have learned to navigate the way. I may have learned to negotiate, to influence people around me, to communicate with them, to ask the right question at the table, to listen in, like Ekta called out. Yeah, I may have learned all these skills. But I think emotional intelligence is something, there's still a long way to go. You always learn on that. You always learn. Like from this conversation, from this interaction itself, there are so many takeaways for me. Right. So, and that's only adding to the emotional quotient, if I may call it.
Absolutely. And it's so important to know when to dial up and dial down your emotional intelligence as well. Because sometimes when we excessively dial up, like this is the feedback, we're talking about personal journey, right? I have always received a feedback from my mentors and my colleagues and my ex managers. There was a time, of course, where my emotional intelligence would dial up to that level where I would sound emotionally foolish. So that's a very thin line that demarcates you on which side do you move. And I think with as you said, Meeta very rightly said, it's a learning process. It's an undying process of learning what is emotional intelligence, because they are perspectives. So and they are your sentiments. You got to balance it out correctly. So over a period of time, I think with a lot of I mean, of course, with years, with professional experience, with a lot of coaching, mentoring, guidance, eventually have now started to, I can say that I've started to learn to balance it out, when to dial in and when to dial out. So I think it's a part of our journey. It's just a part of our learning. And very rightly mentioned by Meeta that in our time, it was, I mean, I was very unaware. What is emotional intelligence? I used to keep questioning. What? आप क्या कहना चाहते हो? I used to tell my mind, इसका मतलब क्या है? Am I being foolish? Am I emotional? Am I sentimental? They're like, no, these are the attributes of your intelligence. But you know how you work on those is something, is what largely emotional intelligence resonates. So, anyways, that's what I completely agree. And I go back in time, 18 years ago. Yeah, this was all so new.
Vidya, ma'am, you want to say anything on this topic?
Sorry?
I was asking Vidya, ma'am, if she wants to talk anything on this emotional intelligence topic.
So I think they've covered it all. Almost they've summarized everything. I think it's it's very important factor, right? To have that awareness about, and training yourself to be emotionally, take some of the toughest decisions, because you'll be taking tough decisions in your workplace, right? So being aware and training yourself on the emotional quotient, right? How you're going to deal with things, and especially dealing with, I will say, failures. That is more, important. How do you handle those things emotionally? So I've been through so many years. Right now I'm like, I know to treat both success and failure equally well. Always, because now I understood that failure is actually very momentary, right? It doesn't define anything. So some of the failures at that moment, say 10 years ago, I thought that, oh, why is this happening to me? Has actually, if I look back now, I would think, okay, that's the best thing that has happened to me, because I completely changed course. I completely changed the way I see things and, change my trajectory, right? So having, I think, emotional intelligence is all about dealing with these things, not getting into that emotional trap, right? And moving on. And for me, it is all about how we treat both, success and failures equally. The earlier we know about this, the better it is for us. So I think that's about emotional intelligence, at least for me. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. So moving forward to the next question. Based on your personal journeys and experiences, especially in the light of challenges outlined in the Women in the Workplace reports, what advice would you give to the young woman aspiring for the leadership role in the corporate world?
So I'll take that almost, I think, a lot of, things that we already covered. I'm going to summarize and reiterate, right? At least the top two or three things that I think is very important. First, I think we talked about, to speak up. And there was like a live incident. I think Mita was asking a question, and there were like three men who immediately jumped in and said, my mother, my father, but women were actually still thinking, right? Still thinking whether should I, speak up or not, right? So I think that is very important. I'll give you a very small situation or scenario like I faced. At least I've been through this dilemma. So first I process in my mind, okay, I'm having this thought process, should I speak this up or not, right? So say in a typical scenario in a corporate situation, you will see, you will always most of the time be a minority group. Say, for example, you will have, say, 10-member meeting. Say 7 will be men, maybe 2 or 3 max will be a woman, right? So given a choice, say, to express, for example, choice of color, say all the men say, blue, because typically we associate blues with, men, and say pinks with women. So what is there in their mind? They are so open about it and they would say blue, right? But women, on the other hand, I, really want them to say pink. Just because there are 7 other men who are saying blue, they should not, change their thinking. Maybe they are right? Because, naturally we think very different. We bring in a unique perspective. So it's so important for us to speak our mind no matter what. And let's not judge ourselves before somebody else. So I think that is very important. Judging ourselves, holding our thoughts, not being able to express, or stopping ourselves from expressing what we feel about certain things, what we think about certain things, because majority is feeling differently. That should not block us. We should be able to be just I think people were talking about authenticity, right? Be authentic, be, just speak up whatever you want to, whatever you think, whatever comes to your mind. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay, to express yourself, whatever comes to your mind, right? So I think that is very important. Like speaking up, communicating. See, once you do that, people will understand, okay, how are you thinking? What is your thought process? What is that you're going to bring to the table? If you're going to stop yourself by not speaking at all, by judging yourself, that's not going to, work out for anyone. And first of all, it's not going to work out for you either, right? So that's the first thing that I want to, stress on: communication, right? And the second thing also, ask for things. This applicable, I think this audience is both men and women. I think naturally men are, slightly demanding than compared to women. So women always think, okay, am I ready? I question myself, right? And then first I want to first make sure that I'm ready myself. That itself is going to take a long time. And, so the asking factor is like delayed, till I'm ready, because I'm thinking that, okay, maybe I'm not good enough or I'm not ready. I need some more time. So ask for what you want, be it, promotions, be it hike, be it what work you want to do. Sit with your peers or colleagues or leaders and express yourself and demand what is that you want to do, right? That is the second thing. And the third thing, I think we talked about networking. Networking is very key. You need to network with people. You need to know in a corporate setting who are the people who's going to make you successful, and partner with them and let them know your aspirations, and and navigate your career, right? That is also equally important. So these three things, I think, at least stay on top of my mind. Speaking up, asking, and network as much as possible. So anything else, Meeta and Ekta, you have anything else to add on?
I think very well said, Vindhya, and just a couple of things which you and I mentioned in the previous conversation. Uh, uh, just adding up to what Vindhya said, that yes, ask for it, be authentic, be yourself, be you. When you get your real self to work or to any frontier that you have to be at, that's when you can excel and succeed, right? That's where all the happiness lies in. And honestly, it's not that success will make you happy. Happiness gives you success. So if you are not the real you, uh, I think everything is moot a discussion then, right? It's a moot point. So yeah, be and then lead by examples. If what you believe in, please stand up for it. Take that plunge, and be the beacon and endorse and be the ambassador when you talk for diversity. Walk that talk, mean it, have the right intent, and I think that's where the grace of women leaders does show up at all forums and at all levels.
Yeah, having heard all of every single point that Vindhya and Ekta mentioned, and they stand so true. Uh, the audience has been super silent, so I don't know if they're absorbing all of it. But I just have one small little point to add to everything that they have covered. In anything, be it your networking, be it your standing up for yourself, asking the right question, leading the way, walk the talk, etc. Do not compromise on quality. Okay, because in the world outside, people will know whether you're just doing something for the sake of doing it, or you're really doing it, with your, I don't want to say heart and soul, but you're really doing it with your genuine interest. Okay, let me stick to that term. Uh, don't compromise on that. So it has both pros and cons. I know you tend to take too much on yourself, which I tend to do mostly, because I do not like things half-baked. Half work done is no work done, essentially. So that's my personal style. I do not like people who work with me. It's very difficult. I consider myself as a difficult person. But I think at the end of the day, when you look back at your own work, you're like, yes, maza aa gaya types. That maza, that wow factor in anything that you're doing, consider yourself there. Do not second guess yourself. You're not less than anyone. Do not compromise on the work that you're delivering. I think
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
my formula.
Sure, ma'am. So we are going to the final question of the session. Indra Nooyi, ex-CEO of PepsiCo, ranked among the world's 100 most powerful women, has once remarked that I don't think women can have it all. I just don't think so. So the floor is open for the discussion. Like, what is your view on this point? Can or can't a woman have it all?
And so I think Indra and I talked about this so many years ago, right? Maybe it's 2013, 14, I think still we remember because it's, it's still debatable. It's still, arguable, right? So see, it all, from my perspective, it all depends on what the definition of what having it all means, right? So if having it all means just your career, then you have it all, right? If having it all means 10 different priorities to me, right? And I want to be successful in all the priorities, then it is a challenge, right? And especially that is where I think it's so important to be very clear on what is your set of priorities, what you want to do. And you cannot have 10 different things because everybody, we all operate in 24-hour window, right? 24-hour slot a day. So where we spend that 24 hours, how we distribute that 24 hours, to me, it will be different. I would like to put like 9 hours or 10 hours on my work, then maybe 2 hours on something else, 2 hours on hobby. But the definition of where I'm putting the effort, the definition of what is my priority. See, earlier on in my career, to be frank, I always wanted to be this superwoman, right? I wanted to handle everything. Always I had the feeling, okay, I can do this also, work also, and always had a packed agenda. So over the period of time, what I've started to realize is I need to cut down on unnecessary priorities, which is not helping me, right? And so, over the period of time, I've started reducing all of these priorities, right? Now, at most, I have like one, two, or just one or two priorities, which is very important to me. And I've just ruled out the rest of the things. And if I want to focus on putting my effort, I will put on only these two priorities. And I think that setting that right set of priorities and what it means having it all to me is, that is very important. Then you will be able to succeed. Because, see, what I've noticed is you can set your own work boundaries or career boundaries. I'm going to put 8 hours or 9 hours at work, and I'm going to navigate this way, which is perfectly fine. But also be open to think about how this 24-hour window will be for others whose one priority will be only career, right? And they are ready to invest that 24 hours there, right? So the definition is, I think, is important. What is important for you is important. Like, how do you want to prioritize? What are the top 3 things that you want to chase in your career or in your personal life, right? Is important. So at least it took me so long to come up with that list, right? This is what I want to focus on. And now you folks are earlier on in your career, and my advice is like not to go with a big list of 10 and think that I want to be successful in everything, which is both professional and personal put together. It might not work the best because it's always about where you put in your effort, right? It's always about time, and consistently you put the time over the period. Maybe 10 years you get your skill set, and you will be able to navigate, you will be able to see your success. So in that way, I think, she is right. You cannot have it all, provided, you want to do 10 things and you want to be successful in 10 things. Define what is important for you and invest your time, in that space is what, my advice would be. So open to the for comments. Yeah.
No, I agree. The entire concept or the statement that was made of having it all is very subjective, and it can have completely, a chalk and cheese different meanings to different people, regardless of their gender, right? So while it is very true that women like men can, pursue their careers, have meaningful relationships, personal other fulfillments and commitments, achieving balance and satisfaction in all areas can be challenging because as women we just are, I think, engineered or modeled that way, that we look at that we think, okay, certain trade-offs and compromises is what we should do. It's not even if we are compelled not to do, we would want to do it because it is whatever you would call it, right? It is being a woman or that maternal thing, or you want to keep your relationships or your family frontiers as your prima facie agenda, right? So for some women, having it all may seem like successfully juggling a career, a family, and personal interest, while others may definitely prioritize other aspects, right, of their lives at different stages. To what one may redefine it as at having it all, right? To me, having it all has one meaning. To you, having it all could have another meaning altogether, right? So I think having it all is very individual value and goal based, right? There are folks that I know, for them having it all was always, I know I have worked, or rather I have been in academics with scholarship and cerebrally high students, women especially, who chose that at one point in time, they just very early, I mean, it was just at the start of their, they had not even, it was at the fundamental of their career, they decided to hang in their boots because they wanted to do what was important to them, that is, nurture and raise a family, which is okay. And I mean, there was that was having it all for them at that point in time. So again, that's what my perspective is, that having it all is very much individual value and goal driven. It is very essential to recognize that societal expectations, the cultural norms, and the systematic barriers that can sometimes impact women's ability to pursue their aspirations fully, right? So issues such as these unequal accesses of opportunity, and so many times the caregiving responsibilities, there are so many workplace biases that can create further additional challenges for women to strive in their having it all goal. So it is not about just a career or a family where we're trying to juggle. Even these perspectives have to be stitched in when we talk about having it all. It just does not limit ourselves to personal or professional frontiers. Within the personal frontiers, there are tenets which are not, which are those invisible yet important tenets which need to be factored, and same is it with the professional on the professional perimeters. So ultimately, this idea of having it all is subjective, and one may look at it from an individual perspective. What is important is that we women have the freedom and support to pursue the goals and aspiration, and whatever they might be, doesn't matter. I mean, it's each to its own. And what is important is to make those choices that align with your values, that align with your priorities, and the bottom line is they make you happy. Again, I would, at the cost of repeating myself, success does not buy you happiness. It is happiness that will get you to success. And it's one very important thing as women, or all of us should remember, that the question is not that who is going to who's going to let me. The question should be, it's who is going to stop me, right? So go ahead, pursue those dreams, and you can do what it takes. So that's my perspective to the having it all theory.
Do you want me also to comment on this? They've covered it so beautifully.
Ma'am, we'd like to have your views as well.
So this is a topic very close to my heart. And in the sense, Vindhya and Ekta, they've covered it really well. They have said it that, having it all is highly subjective. When I was growing up, when I say growing up, this I'm talking in mid-20s, early 20s maybe. My friends were getting married, I wasn't. Right? There was a time then in the late 20s, early 30s, my friends were having children, I wasn't. I live by myself today. I take my decisions. I do things on my own completely. So there are things which maybe you have and I don't. Right? There are things which my friends have and I don't. but there are things which I have and they don't. So this is a dialogue or a comparison. It can go on for the rest of our lives. It takes me to that one film, and help me with that name of the movie. Deepika Padukone and Ranbir Kapoor. His name is Bunny in the movie, and she makes him sit down and she says, Bunny, kuch na kuch to piche reh jayega.
छूट ही जाएगा.
Put it there, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, so each to his own, yeah. Ye Jawani Hai Diwani, thank you. Yeah, that's the one. So Sakshi, yeah. So yeah, so I think just have fun. Having it all is. I wonder if we should even talk about it. वो तो नहीं हो सकता है. There's so much. Okay, let me pick an example. I'm sure all of you are. Some of you may be backpackers. Some of you must like to travel and have fun over the weekends. And I hope this is the last question. We've been talking for far too long. I want to hear your voice as well.
Yes, ma'am. This would be the concluding question.
Thank you very much. So if you're traveling, let's say you go to, let's say you go to Banaras. You return from Banaras and one of your friends say, you had a packed itinerary. You thought you want to see everything about the city. You want to do everything that the city has to offer. You come back and your friend says, तूने वो गली में जाके वहाँ पर अपना photo चिपकाया, and did you have that lassi there? And like, oh shit, ये तो रह गया. And that happens so many times. We go to places, we have a packed agenda, we feel, oh my God, I've done everything, we've seen every corner of the place, and you come back and your friend asks that one question, you're like, okay, I want to go back there all over again. So yeah, so kuch na kuch to baki reh jaye.
But this is applicable to men as well, you know. Who are successful men who are like CEOs or CXOs, it's true for them as well, right?
It's a gender agnostic, I feel, having it all. We have certain goals which definitely, even if the men wish, they can't have it, right? And vice versa. So again, I mean, I have always seen it from that lens that having it all is just a theory in your mind, right? Some might have a minimal viable product for them. That's having it all. They are happy, right?
There you go. All right, let's open. I want to hear your voice.
Thank you, ma'am, for all the insightful discussion that we had today. Due to the paucity of time, I would like to conclude this session. So with that, we'd like to officially adjourn this amazing session with a vote of thanks. We, the Industry Interaction Committee, would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to our panelists for taking out the time and gracing us with their presence in this event and making it a success. We are grateful for your contribution to the event, and we will certainly take many insights from it. As a humble token of appreciation, we are proud to present you with the certificate of acknowledgement, the planting of a tree through our partner Grow Trees. Shyam, if you can share the certificates, please. Thank you so much, Shyam. As we speak, these certificates are being shared with you on your email. We hope the tree signifies the value of that our industry leaders have towards the growth of our country. As this conclave comes to a close, let it be the beginning of fresh inspiration, new connections, and a world of possibilities waiting for each one of us. We thank you all once again, and we hope to continue our association in the future as well. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
For having us again. A quick call out, Sakshi, and some of you, Khushi, Khushbu, Maharshi, for coordinating with me and bearing with my time and calendar. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
The students,
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. It was wonderful.
Yes,
yeah, go ahead.
Ma'am, you can please go ahead.
No. I just want to thank. It was really wonderful. I just hope it was beneficial, and learning from experiences is one of the important things. I hope you guys benefited from this session. Yeah.
We learned great insights from this session, ma'am. For the students, I would like to request you to stay back for some time. And thank you so much for the panel.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Have a good weekend ahead. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.